Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Live. It is, of course, Wednesday, September 28, 2016. Thank you for everybody tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure if you're watching this live cast, this live stream on Facebook, please like us on Facebook. It helps us out. We will continue to broadcast on Facebook and social media networks around the world as long as the internet still exists. Although it is a little bit of a ticking time bomb. Because in the next few days, by October 1st, 2016, Barack Hussein in the membrane Obama plans to shift unilaterally control of the internet, what he deems the wild, wild west, to the United Nations and communist China. Because God forbid we have freedom of speech here in the United States of America. Thank you again for your tremendous support, folks. We really appreciate it. Subscribing on demand, the price of a cup of coffee, $4.95 a month, $49.95 a year, supports us, supports what we do, alternatively. And we really do need your help. In fact, Michael Savage, one of the most popular radio personalities on the face of the friggin' planet, was shut down the other day when talking about crooked Hillary's health and the fact that she lied, but she really had pneumonia, and that she continues to bullshit the American public.
We're back on the air. Apparently there was a glitch. We think there was a technical glitch. I kind of doubt it. So if you want to know if there's media bias tonight, you don't have to look any further than this show. 100 million viewers, and on the eve of the most important debate in history, they take off a man like me. Not so much as an email to my producer before the show. Did my syndicator send a note saying they were preempting me today? So the only reason they preempted me is to prevent me from talking about Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, in my estimation.
That's right. Michael Savage, one of the most influential radio personalities on the planet, on the face of the earth, was shut down. His national syndication, gone. This is a very, very serious issue, folks. And unless you support the truth and support organizations like ours, as well as Michael Savage and others, and think about this for a minute. Michael Savage is huge, and he's being shut down. Didn't Matt Drudge of the Drudge Report warn on the Alex Jones show not too long ago, I think a year ago, that he had a Supreme Court justice look him in the eye and basically tell him that he wouldn't exist in potentially another 12 months, that he wasn't going to be able to run headlines anymore, that they were going to outlaw it because, again, Barack Obama doesn't want the wild, wild west.
I had a Supreme Court justice tell me to my face, it's over for me. I said, Matt, it's over for you. They've got the votes now to enforce copyright law. You're out of there. They're going to make it so headlines, you can't even use headlines. To have a Supreme Court justice say that to my face, that it's over.
He wants to turn us into communist China or a tyrannical government like North Korea, perhaps. Again, the people are getting too powerful. This alternative media is becoming too powerful. And people like Barack Obama and Hillary, rotten Clinton, are running scared. They need to control the narrative. They need to control everything. They need to brainwash you, the American sheeple. They need to control people like Lester Holt, as they did very, very effectively at the presidential debate. Am I missing something here? I was driving into the studio this morning and I was honestly thinking to myself, what am I missing about this presidential debate? Because all I'm hearing is a cheerleading. Like, yay, we won. Donald Trump dominated. Yeah, it's a shoo-in. He's going to win. Really? It's a shoo-in? He dominated? Because I didn't see that at all. I thought he did pretty good. In fact, I would give him probably a B rating, like a B, maybe a B minus, maybe even a C. I mean, he was okay. I didn't really get the jabs that I wanted out of him. He didn't really go on the prowl like he normally does. He wasn't the attack dog that he usually is. In fact, he even allowed Hillary Clinton to question his integrity, and he just took it. When he should have been like, look, you're questioning my integrity? How about your integrity, Hillary Clinton? That's what the American people don't trust. You're lying. Benghazi Gate, the death of Christopher Stevens, several other Americans, blaming it falsely on a YouTube video called Innocence of Muslims, and then ruining that guy's life, by the way, that had nothing to do with the strategically timed terrorist attack that made up September 11th anniversary. So he doesn't mention any of that. Lester Holt, of course, doesn't ask a single question about the Clinton Foundation at all. Donald Trump's, he's able to get a couple punches in or jabs, I guess, on the email scandal, but that's it. And then all I saw was overwhelming polling that said Donald Trump dominated, namely from the Drudge Report, which had like an 80% upvote that Donald Trump won. Now, look, I think Donald Trump did a good job. I do. He gets a passing grade. But in all honesty, it wasn't good enough. He needs to do better. And hear me out on this. You see, Donald Trump's supporters, people like me, my mind isn't changed at all. I'm going to vote Donald Trump. I love Donald Trump. He helps to swing the pendulum back from the liberalized PC, cut your dick off, Bruce Jenner bullshit society to where we need to go. He at least puts a tourniquet around the gunshot wound for the moment. Here, as America is bleeding into tyranny and we're losing our freedom and liberty, nothing in my mind changes. I'm still voting for Donald Trump. All the Pepe the Frog, now deemed terrorists, according to certain organizations, voters of Donald Trump are still going to vote for Donald Trump. That's not the issue. Where the problem is Donald Trump needs to woo the undecided voters. And namely, where he's most weak, like with African Americans and Latinos and ethnic groups, he needs to woo them as well. He did not do that during the Hofstra New York presidential debate. He wasn't winning it, to steal some terminology or verbiage from Charlie Sheen. So I see that as a problem. I also think that, in all fairness, Donald Trump's handlers are over managing the Donald. Telling him to back off so much and be so reserved that he doesn't even counterpunch from time to time. My advice, Donald, is let you be yourself. Let the Donald be Donald. Again, if I was advising Donald Trump, I would have told him to be reserved on certain issues. I would have told him to veer away from certain things like Hillary's health or Bill Clinton's philandering and his accusations of rape and him being a sexual predator and those kinds of things. I would have, advised that. But he could have lightly planted the seed and helped to control the narrative a little bit. But see, here's the problem. Hillary Rotten Clinton owns the mainstream media and the people that own her, the rotten corporations that own America today. You see, America is bought and paid for. Notice that every single question that Lester Holt asked controlled and dictated the narrative. I think it was the cartoonist Ben Garrison, I was showing people here at our studio yesterday, summed it up best with his cartoon, where he basically showed Hillary being debated and or moderated not by Lester Holt, but by herself. Because, again, she owns Lester Holt. And the corporations, the rotten corporations, own her and own Washington, D.C. today. And all that was covered, and this is how they controlled the narrative, was planting the seed in the minds of the American people that Donald Trump is a racist, that he's a sexist, and anti-feminist because, what did he say? That Rosie O'Donnell was fat, even though it's true? In fact, maybe he meant the PH version of fat. And so that would be politically correct for the PC vermin that make up our society today. That he's a misogynist, that he's racist, that he's anti-Muslim, all these things, that he's a loose cannon, that you can't trust the Donald with the nuclear codes because he'll press the red button and destroy the world. Now, I want this to sink in for a moment. Oh, and that he would start a new war. Let this sink in for a moment. This is coming from Hillary Clinton, who's been in politics for some 30-odd plus years, who actually starts wars in places like Iraq, which she voted for, and Afghanistan, and the destabilization effort in places like Syria with the ouster of Bashar al-Assad, or the covert military central intelligence operation that made up Ukraine that wrongfully overthrew the rightful sovereign leadership of Bashar al-Assad. This lady actually starts wars. This lady actually sets up private email infrastructure illegally, which is a felony, and exposes America's secrets to America's enemies. Yet she has the gall to accuse Donald Trump during the presidential debate and question this man's integrity? But she was allowed to get away with it because, again, Hillary Clinton's greatest asset is the mainstream media. And it's exactly as I called the debate, and my initial gut instinct reaction was, it's not that Hillary Rotten Clinton won the presidential debate, it's that the mainstream media did. Donald Trump is going to have to perform a lot better. In fact, maybe he should take a Viagra for debate number 2. He needs to be firmer. Again, another reason why he should take a Viagra. I'm sure it's huge, by the way, Donald, because you're huge in every department, even though your hands have been probably rightfully criticized as being kind of puny on camera. But I'm sure you're huge in your own mind. You're huge. Donald Trump needs to come out swinging a little bit more. Now, I was reminded by our audience, and I think it was really good input, that, and this is what the comment kind of alluded to, is that remember that Ronald Reagan, during his first debate, came out a little bit weak. But then he really picked up steam, and he eventually won, and he became one of America's greatest presidents that we have ever seen, arguably. An actor, just like Donald Trump. An actor. You're fired. The Apprentice. All these things. Reality television. But what do we really need to know? And more importantly, what do you really need to know about the election? Well, as I was digesting the political theater, the movie that was the presidential debate, I couldn't help but feel ill to my stomach. Like I just wanted to throw up all over camera. Because as we're analyzing the minutia, and even speaking of it today, I'm also fully aware, consciously, not even in my subconscious or alter ego, but actually in my consciousness, I am so aware with 110% factual certainty that this entire election is not just rigged, but it's bullshit. You see, folks, all of this is an illusion. There is no two-party system. There is no system. Republican and Democrat is meaningless. The elephant, the big fat elephant and the donkey, meaningless. The political pundits, meaningless. It's all an illusion to control you. The same reason that they had Donald Trump in a blue tie on the left side of the screen, and they had Hillary Clinton on the right side of the screen in a red pantsuit, playing the inversion of both sides, which is a sign and symbol. In fact, if you look into this with any detail at all, you'll see that these are Illuminati signals to the globalist, elitist, bankster, fraudulent, corporatist interests that actually own the United States of America today. So here we are, and the American people are just battling it out, right versus left, and all these politics, and, talking about race for most of the debate, this PC bullshit society, and what Donald Trump didn't do well, and what he did good, and he should have attacked more, and, how Hillary Clinton was well prepared because her handlers had her prepared well ahead of time, etc., and she didn't even cough or collapse during the entire debate. And, of course, Julian Assange hasn't released shit, even though he said that he would, and that he'd basically oust Hillary Clinton just like he did Debbie Wasserman Schultz before the presidential debate. And I can't help but think to myself, here we are, paying so much attention to the minutia, to the illusion, like this is actually a system, when there's no system at all. America is burning in flames. It is already burnt to the ground. We have already fallen. This is already the Roman Empire collapsed. We are already the laughingstock around the world. Gross immigration has already happened. They're already here. The terrorism is already on our soil. People are already dying. The endless wars are already continuing. The bankster bailouts move into infinity. None of these problems have been solved, but we're getting some good entertainment. Isn't that nice? Yeah, grab your popcorn and pop a beer. I'm actually drinking green iced tea today. I like green tea. And I've replaced it with my cup of coffee. So maybe I'll start saying with your cup of green tea. It's pretty easy on the stomach. You know, if you drink a lot of cups of coffee, it's a diuretic, makes you go to the bathroom a lot. You know, I think it's important that we try to lower stress levels. It really is really important. You know, the political environment, it's taxing. It can tax a lot of us, kind of like Glenn Beck. I don't know if you've seen him lately, but he really does look like he's lost his mind. You know, he bet on the wrong horse, Ted Cruz, and he kind of went down in a ball of flames, and now he endorsed Donald Trump, which, again, it's just crazy how all this happens. And, you know, I give Ted Cruz a lot of credit. You know, he's doing a good job. He's also putting up a fight with this internet shutdown, by the way. In fact, who knows, folks, this might be our last broadcast. Cheers to that. In fact, I'm going to take another sip of my green tea here on ice because it could be the last broadcast, unless you support us. That is. But you see, this environment is stressful. And Glenn Beck seems to be kind of losing his mind. Really, he seems to be kind of losing it. It's really interesting. You know, every time he's speaking, he's always like in this setting that he's created that looks like he's at the Four Seasons or something. You know, he's like got a pillow next to him. It's kind of like Oprah Winfrey and stuff. And he's sitting there, and he's in Texas, of all places, like Dallas, but he's always wearing like a fur coat or a big fat sweater or something like that. It's really quite ridiculous. But he seems to be losing his mind a little bit. And can you blame the guy? I mean, he's been doing this for a long time, and it's just like he's kind of just cracked. He's just lost it. Now, I know a lot of you guys don't like Glenn Beck, and we all have our opinions, right? Opinions are like the A word. But it's kind of a testament to how crazy this shit show really is. So when I look at the question, what you really need to know about the election, what you honest to God really need to know is this election is a farce. It's total bullshit. Your vote doesn't count. This is just entertainment. And who's better in entertaining than another actor like Donald Trump and Hillary Rotten Clinton? Now, again, I'm pro Donald Trump. I give the guy a lot of credit. I fully believe, truly believe that he is anti-establishment. It's why none of the establishment wants Donald Trump to be president of the United States. It's why Michelle Obama doesn't want him as president. But more importantly, the Bushes don't want him as president. Romney doesn't want him as president. Even an article was sent to me by one of our marketing managers today that indicated that the Arizona Republic, an historic conservative newspaper, which I'll never read again, by the way, is actually flip-flopping on supporting the people's choice in the name of Donald Trump, and instead they are going to endorse Hillary Rotten Clinton. So, Christopher, if what we really need to know about the election is that it's not just rigged, but that it's a farce and a lie and a total illusion, then where do we go from here? How do the American people have any say in this country that has already collapsed, that is already burnt to the ground? That is the movie, quite literally, Idiocracy. Now, it looks like our Facebook feed went down. In fact, we're only going to rebroadcast this on YouTube and, of course, on demand. We'll get the clips out to YouTube, and then, of course, on demand, you get all of our videos completely ad and commercial free. In fact, I really encourage you to watch my presidential debate live stream where I fully analyze the debate with all the minutia in real time. I did want to mention that, and this is something that I picked up on during that live stream that people call a conspiracy theory. I was one of the first to talk about it. Did you notice that Donald Trump's mic had an echo to it when he was speaking? But Hillary's mic sounded fantastic. The lighting looked better for Hillary. Her mic sounded great. But Donald sounded like he had, and they're trying to spin this like he had the sniffles, like he had a cold or something, even though I didn't hear that at all. But what I did point out, and what I did notice, is that mic had an echo. It had a crackling. Donald Trump didn't sound as good. And again, Donald Trump himself, even post the presidential debate, made an inference to it and pointed it out. And then the radical left just laughed at it like it was a conspiracy theory. Well, it was the first thing I noticed. In fact, if you're one of our subscribers in our underground community, and thank you so much for supporting us. I'm interacting with you guys daily. We're putting up shitloads of great content, and the support is amazing. Thank you so much. You'll know that it was like one of the first things I mentioned off the bat, because again, nothing about the presentation of the presidential debate is by accident. It's staged, just like a movie, just like going to the theater. Welcome back, Facebook. It looks like we had dropped our stream, so excuse me, Face Crook. So let us know if you're getting audio on the Face Crook stream. Hopefully that's back to normal. My point being, and get the rebroadcast on demand. Please support us. We really do need your support. I mean, it is no bullshit when I'm talking about this internet shutdown 2016 here, October 1st, threatening the very survival of alternative media. Not just people like us, but people like Michael Savage, who was shut down the other day. This is a very, very serious issue, folks, and we need your support. So, we love to give out the content for free, as we're doing here on Face Crook, although it's a little bit of a lower quality. Everything looks freaking amazing on our platform. But please support us. If you actually value what we do and you're getting a lot from this broadcast and you think we're actually helping things and we're pushing, a good message to the American people, just support us. I mean, again, I hate to beat a dead horse, but literally for the price of a freaking cup of coffee a month, that's all it takes. You change the freaking world. It makes a huge difference with what we're doing here. And we really, really need your support. So whether or not it's a cup of coffee or it's your cup of green tea, which I've been moving to green tea because it's easier on the stomach and I'm trying to take care of myself and I'm trying to be healthy, okay? I'm trying to deal with the stress of this shit show that makes up the U.S. election. Like, we are operating so extremely here. It's freaking awesome. Like, we're doing tons of content, obviously, which is fantastic. But, I'm always looking at ways as, how can I also counter the stress load? And so that I'm operating at a high level. And one of the things I've been doing, I've been lifting weights. I've been doing a lot of that. I've been swimming. I'm up to 1,000 yards now a day swimming. I'm trying to get a little bit of vitamin D when I can too. I'm trying to spend some time moving away from some of the technology, like making, a portion of my day where, there's no digital footprint anywhere, because, America really has become this idiocracy. Facebook, everybody, Face Crook, are you tuned in? Everything looking good? If not, we'll just cut the feed. We'll lose it today, and we'll just stick with our main feed here. But again, we depend so heavily, and alternative media has depended so heavily for so long on this giant big tech, too big to fail monopoly that makes up the social media infrastructure. It's why it's so important that you support us directly, alternatively, so we're not dependent on a system that aims to censor us, to shut us down, to block and ban our content, to demonetize what we're doing. So I kind of feel like I'm the only one. I know I'm not. I know I'm preaching to the choir, because most of you that I've spoken with are on-demand subscribers, have told me, Chris, you're right on. Trump did pretty much disappoint. And I just want to make the point that nothing you saw at the presidential debate was an accident. You know, they had months and months and months of preparation. Every camera shot, every angle, the lighting, the mics, all of that was set up long in advance. You know, for example, when we set up a shot here, we frame it before we put it on camera. Everything you see here, from my pen to my shirt to my iPad to my falling pen to my notepad to my green tea, which I didn't want to put on camera because, to be honest, they don't endorse me at all, but it's just freaking sitting here because I like it, to this red cup here. All of this was framed before we hit the button, like, let's go on camera. So everything you saw at the presidential debate, for example, was there for a reason. All the minutia, the color of Donald Trump's tie, him being in the left frame, again, the inversion between Donald Trump and Hillary, where they switch sides, an Illuminati sign, by the way, this inversion, you can learn about these things, is sign to the world, and also playing politics to the opposing right-left paradigm. But in reality, see how they flip-flopped? There is no right-left. There is no two-party. There's only one system and one party. So, folks, it really is a shit show. We really do have problems here in the United States of America. And, you know, this whole idea, and this is what Trump's campaign is pitching right now, and it's a good pitch, right? And I think any candidate in his position would say the same thing, like, this is our last chance to make America great again. Our last chance from preventing the empire from crumbling, to stop the illegal immigration and the mass migration into the United States of America, which has only bred and fueled even more violent, radical, jihadi terrorism in our streets. But here's the issue. Is that really true? No, it's not. Because it's already happened. We've already been overtaken. We've already been hijacked. America has already been sold to the highest bidder. That's the problem. So, to me, it really boils down not to politics, but to an elevation of our collective mind, and if we're having problems with, honestly, drop that Facebook. I don't even want to see that thing. That thing's pissing me off. And F you, face crook. It really is about collective mind, an elevation of our consciousness, understanding all of this, having spiritual awareness and God in our life and nature in our life to realize what a bought and paid for commercialized society it is that we live, how we're all indoctrinated into a system that isn't good for us, that owns us, that aims to control us, that wants to brainwash us, that wants to separate us, that wants us focused on race, for example. And I wanted to mention this story. There's a YouTuber who I'd never heard of, but he's been doing some pretty viral videos. Let me pull up his name here, where he basically goes out on the street and holds up a Black Lives Matter sign. But here's the deal, and it's pretty clever. His name is Joey Salads, and I think one of his sidekicks is like Croutons or something. I doubt this is really their real names. I think he's from New York or something like that. And what he proves, Joey Salads, is that Black Lives Matter is a racist organization, and that Black Lives Matter is racist. So here is the video. Basically what he does is he sets up a sign in a predominantly white suburban neighborhood and holds up a sign, Black Lives Matter. Okay, and people walk by and they're coming in, etc. And he's like, hey, do you guys support Black Lives Matter? Most people are like, no, man, like all lives matter, like, you know, it can't just be like one segregated group. Some people are like, no, I don't support Black Lives Matter. And he keeps going up to people. He's holding the sign like in front of a grocery store. And there's some discourse. Most people are saying, hey, it's more all-inclusive. Like, it's not just, why separate? You know, why segregate? all lives matter. It's not just black lives. Some people are like, oh yeah, black lives matter, but so do Asians and Caucasians and Hispanics and all these kinds of things. Conversely, and it's a relatively peaceful situation, right? Like there's discourse, there's conversation, there's no violence. Then he goes to a predominantly African-American black neighborhood and holds up a sign, all lives matter, and the tables turn. Everything changes. He almost gets freaking killed out on the street. He's got people trying and beating him up, pushing him to the ground, trying to shred his sign. There's even one nice chap, I'll call him, who comes up and is like, hey, bro, dude, you got to get out of here, man. Like, it's not going to be good. Like, these guys are going to come back and get you, dude. Like, you got to get out of here. I mean, like, I've never seen so much violence, hate, and overt racism, which only proves how racist intrinsically the Black Lives Matter movement is. Let's go to a minute or so of that clip.
Hey, you guys support Black Lives Matter? No? Is it yes or no? I need to know. You support Black Lives Matter? Do you?
Lives.
All lives.
Lives of the world.
You support lives of the world?
Lives of the world.
You support Black Lives Matter?
Do I support it? Yes. Why wouldn't I?
You support all lives matter?
Yes.
You support Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, I
You do?
do. Yep.
You support Black Lives Matter? No? You support Black Lives Matter? You support Black Lives Matter?
You got nothing better to do.
You support Black Lives Matter?
Of course, Black lives always matter.
Yeah. You support Black Lives Matter, sir?
I will not support them.
You agree that all lives matter?
Black matter, yo, get out of here, bro. Get out of here.
Says-
Niggas, what the f you doing around
All
here,
lives
man?
matter. What's the big deal?
Matter type shit. What the f is this, man?
So what you
Listen,
saying? Black lives don't matter?
I'm saying every life matter, all of them.
Get the f out of here.
all lives, black lives.
Get
Why-
the f out of here, yo.
What's wrong with that?
Yo, get the f out of here, my nigga.
What's wrong with?
What that shit say?
Huh?
Yo, get the f out of here with that bullshit, man.
What's wrong with
Cops killing niggas every f
wrong
day. You
with
got, get the f out of here with that. Man, bro, you shouldn't be over here with that sign.
What do you mean?
It's crazy over here, bro. If they see that sign, bro, it's gonna be a problem, bro. You should get out of here, bro. I'm telling you.
You think it's dangerous for me to be out here with
It's
it?
crazy out here, bro. I'm telling you, you should get out of here, bro.
And so you can see the difference, right? This is courtesy of Joey Salads. I don't know if he's a vegetarian or not. I doubt that that's his real name. You know, pretty charismatic guy on the street, you know, kind of fits in there. But you see the diametrical opposition of public discourse and a safe and peaceful environment in the predominantly Caucasian suburban neighborhood, and then the counterpoint of extreme violence, hate, rage, racism in the street. One guy's like, you know, gets really enraged because, you know, black people are being shot by cops and et cetera. So the point being, the video overtly portrays, at least this video, the Black Lives Matter movement ideology, which really is what it is, as an overtly racist movement, which is not pro-life, where all lives matter, but very much segregates itself into this community and helps to fuel this fire of rage and anger, which is only dividing us further. And again, I've said this incessantly. It's not that there's not racism in America. It's not that there's not bad cops and bad apples and instances, cases, and situations where, you know, black men have been taken advantage of or shot wrongfully, and the cop should go to jail if, you know, prosecuted by a jury of his peers. And it says something. There's obviously some socioeconomic, you know, things there too, and all this. But why is a movement like Black Lives Matter segregating itself into something that just comes off as, just like what we saw, is inherently racist and divisive? Again, plays right into the handbook of the guy that freaking funds this. Something Donald Trump also didn't mention during the presidential debate. George Soros, you know, the guy who's like 100, looks like he's going to freaking die and plays the puppet master if Hillary Rotten Clinton donates to her super PAC. Well, he's the same guy that, by the way, not only is he funneling millions of dollars into these activists, but really terrorist groups like Black Lives Matter, but he's also endorsing the same criminals running for the highest office in law of the land. Criminal. Meant to divide us. Again, Black Lives Matter is only meant to divide us. All of these racist stories propelled by the Clinton News Network only meant to divide us, to keep us angry, so that we're engaged in two-party system bullshit political discourse, which is totally meaningless. I mean, we might as well just be arguing about, some reality TV show or American Idol, like which singer did a better job at last night's performance, because that's all it was, is a freaking performance. It's all America is a freaking performance. I guarantee you, as I was talking with our video producer, that somebody massively entrenched in Hollywood more than likely set up the freaking stage for the presidential debate. I bet in fact, why don't you guys investigate that on your own? Find out who set up the debate. I mean, there's no difference between Hollywood and a freaking movie set, or placing, CIA asset George Clooney, for example, as the face of the UN or the United Nations, speak on behalf of what's going on in Syria. I mean, all of it is propaganda. Let me give you a perfect case point here and an example of this. Remember the tragic Orlando terror attack? The shooting, just a massive tragedy, bloodbath, where the domestic terrorist goes in, massacres, what was it? It was like near, how many people I'm reading here? 49 people dead. Just think about that for a minute. That is just like the most tragic thing I've ever heard of in my life. 49 people killed at a gay nightclub, 53 and wounded 53 others. Is that right? We're talking almost 100 people either killed or injured. Mateen killed 49 people during the attack on the Pulse, a gay nightclub, and wounded 53 others. Yeah, that's right. Almost 100 people affected by this. Now, remember how the mainstream media told us that the motive for, Omar Mateen, the reason for the killing is that he was actually a closet homosexual, right? He liked to visit the gay club, so it was just motivated on his hate for the LGBTQ community and binary crowd. I don't know whether or not you keep a dick or not. In fact, there's actually another video from the Salads character where he dresses up like a transgender but looks like a total guy and tries to walk into women's bathrooms and they just shoo him out. He's actually kind of genius in the way he kind of stages. He's like a prankster. But remember how the mainstream media told us that was the motive? His hate for the gays, the bisexuals, the transgenders. He's also a closet homosexual, they say. And maybe that's true. Maybe he, was gay. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know the guy. Sexual relations with other men. I don't know. He's a freaking homosexual. Who really cares? But the mainstream media sold it to us like that was the primary motive and the only motivation for the killing of roughly 49 people and wounding of 53 others. Well, guess what comes out today? You know what his motive was? His actual motive, dictated by him when he was speaking with negotiators over the phone while he was on his rampage killing people. He was specifically triggered by a recent Pentagon drone strike in the Middle East. You see how people, they don't think that there's any consequences to what Barack Obama is doing, what Hillary Clinton is doing in this part of the world. He was triggered, not by gays, according to him. The mainstream media doesn't report this. He was triggered, quote, specifically by a Pentagon drone strike. Article goes on to say the domestic terrorist behind the Orlando nightclub massacre was motivated by a Pentagon drone strike in Iraq a month before the shooting, according to police transcripts made public last week. Conversations between Omar Mateen and an Orlando police negotiator on June 12th were kept secret by the FBI and local police until Friday. The secrecy contributed to misleading media accounts of the terrorist motives in the days after the killings. And it goes on here. It says how many people he killed. This is what he says specifically. The airstrike that killed Abu Wahid a few weeks ago, that's what triggered it, okay? That's what triggered it, said Mateen, who earlier in the conversation identified himself as a follower of the Islamic State terror group. And he also says that he wanted the U.S. government to stop bombing the shit out of Syria and Iraq and places like Afghanistan, etc. So The message I'm driving home here is there are consequences, very severe, deadly, homicidal consequences to the covert operations pushed by the United States federal government with the funding and arming of ISIS, in the creation and engineering of these destabilization campaigns, in the falsehood that made up the illegal invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan post-September 11, 2001. The consequences are death, murder, radical jihadi terrorism here in the United States of America. It's not because the guy was just, and maybe he was, just a closet homosexual. But the reason for the killing, according to him, and I think we've got to believe him when he's like, yo, this is the reason why, because you drone strike this dude, and I want you to stop bombing the shit out of Iraq. Another major story, panic, anxiety, as the globalist elite rush for luxury bunkers among the super rich in places like Los Angeles, where they're building underground bunkers. These start on the low end for the average Joe at 35,000 or something like that. Goes all the way up to the millions of dollars. But you see, the globalist elite are panicking. Hollywood's panicking. Anybody with money is panicking. Honest to God, panicking right now. They're just like, oh shit, what are we going to do? So what they're doing is they're going underground and building these bunkers so they can store their Rolls Royces and stuff. I don't know why you need a freaking Rolls Royce in your underground bunker if there's a nuclear attack, but who knows? All this terrorism, all these shootings, all the political discourse is scaring people. The election is scaring. Everybody's just frightened at all times. Something that is a keen objective of the globalist powers that be, by the way, and your government, by the way. Keep the fear rate really high. That's how they control you. So they're building all these luxury underground bunkers, some better than others, some more expensive than others, where there's bowling alleys and there's gardens and there's, all these, survival tools and all these kinds of things. It just tells you where things are going. The rise in safe rooms, for example, in places like New York City. A lot of actors, have these where they're just so concerned for their safety. Same thing with the banksters, too. I always said, make these people known so you know who these people are. Like the Wells Fargo CEO had to forfeit $40 million or something like that based on the last scandal, and all these people are leaving. I'm sure they won't be prosecuted, but they're having to forfeit money. These people are scared for their lives because they know they've been ripping you off for years, and now they're in the public eye. Right, all these bankster elites. So they're building their bunkers. They're buying property in places like New Zealand at $1 million+ a pop. A lot more than that. $1 million in New Zealand, for example, gets you a POS, place without a view, and it's a fixer-upper. But again, this tells you where things are going. Fears of another financial crisis. Deutsche Bank, the German bank, is facing a massive fine, I believe, from the United States right now, and it's raising fears of another looming financial crisis, like we've talked about here for years, like what we saw in 2008 and 2009. All of this is moving this direction, and it is very, very dangerous, folks. Where do you guys think that it goes from here? How do you think this ends? Can you see the forest through the trees past the election? Because all it is, folks, is political illusion. It's all it is. I did want to take some time, mention one of our sponsors today, ammoboxes.com. Get all of your ammo boxes, for your 9mm ammo, for your AK-47, all your guns, also MTMK Scar. These are the two companies. But you go to ammoboxes.com. You can check out their store. Again, they're one of these just loyal family-owned businesses that have been supporting us for a very long time. They've got amazing products. I've mentioned them many times before. Go to their website. Again, it's ammoboxes.com. We'll put a link in the description below. You can view their factory retail store for MTMK Scar at ammoboxes.com and see all of their line of products. Really pretty cool. You can see which ammo boxes are new for 2016, covering everything from handguns to your rifle to much larger ammo cans and crates. There's also this really cool shooting rest and table that they make that I would recommend checking out. There's a pretty cool YouTube video that they do on it as well. But I've got a ton of these boxes myself. Great for storage, handling all your gear. Again, you can lock it up, child safety friendly all of these things. So if you're in the market and you're looking at these types of products, survival gear, etc., you need storage, check out ammoboxes.com today. Support them, and by supporting them, you're supporting us. Let them know Christopher Green of Alternative Media Television sent them your way. I really, really, really appreciate it. So I can deliver the real truth and the real news. And you vote with your wallet, just like you vote with your wallet on demand, and you vote with our sponsors, supporting, we are the troops. You are the army. That's what we're building here, is a freaking army of intellectuals, an army of ideas combating this totalitarian system that makes up, the Orwellian idiocracy nightmare that is not just America, but the world today. Action's important. Action speaks louder than words. Someone asked me the other day, this was in our forum on demand. Again, check it out. Go to amtvmedia.com, click on demand. In fact, you actually get into the forums, I believe, for free. We actually still have that. You just get in there for free, but to get all the content, you've got to support us. But somebody asked me, Christopher, I think about procrastination. And, I think they also said that they had trouble finishing things. Like they'll start a lot of things. Maybe you're someone like this where you start things, but you can't finish them. And the question was, well, do you have any advice in that area? Kind of simple advice, actually. Just actions speak louder than words. Like if you start something, finish it. If you don't, maybe think about why you didn't finish it. Maybe there's a reason why you didn't finish it. That's not the thing that you should be doing. Kind of follow your natural progression of instincts. Like a lot of people, there's people out there, I'm kind of like this too, where you kind of move from topic to topic and idea, or episode to episode, or hobby to hobby, right? Like one of the things I'm really interested in now is marksmanship and self-defense. And I'm looking also at, various things like MMA fighting and these kinds of things. Like that's kind of like where my interests are heading right now. And so I'm building upon that. I might do that for a while, but I'll finish it and then I might move to another skill and work on that. Again, I hope I've emphasized this enough over the years, but what we do really is a lifestyle choice. It's a lifestyle decision. Like there's a reason why what you're tuning into is called alternative media television, because it's an alternative to everything else. It's an alternative to this brainwashing, this control grid, this system that isn't good for you. McDonald's is not good for you. Supporting the machine that is Starbucks versus supporting someone like us isn't good for you. Now, I realize we're all human, and nobody's perfect, and we're all a part of this system, and we're always working to improve ourselves. But if you haven't already started to make like good changes in your life, and if you're not voting with your actions, and you're not voting with your wallet, and you're not supporting good causes, honestly, I just think you're losing. I think you're losing out on a better life. And I think there's so much opportunity and there's so much greatness and amazing things that we can all do together. This is what I see in the community all the time with what we've built. Look at how far we've come. We need to focus on building ourselves up. You need to focus on building yourselves up as well. So this is just truly amazing. I really do feel like we're on the precipice of disaster. And the internet shutdown is really, really scaring me. I'm just being freaking frank with you guys. I mean, this is a big, big deal. October 1st, this is the handoff. This is exactly what Matt Drudge talked about on the Alex Jones show. He said he had a Supreme Court justice look him in the eye and tell him that you're finished. I'm paraphrasing a bit, that you're done, Matt Drudge. You won't be able to run a headline. We've got it out for you. Barack Obama just a couple days ago said, well, the internet's been the Wild West and we can't have it being the Wild West. Why? Because they can't control the narrative any longer. It's getting scary for them. When YouTubers like, what was his name? The Salads character can do these videos and pretty much show you that the Black Lives Matter movement is a freaking racist and terrorist organization. Right? They can't control the narrative. That's very, very scary to the globalist elites. Why they're building their bunkers. That's why they're moving out of the country. I think it was Scott Adams I believe, is he not the cartoonist of Dilbert? I think the cartoon. And somebody sent me an email, this is from one of my family members, where he goes on, and I'm kind of having to go rote memory here, but he's talking about how he's actually moved his endorsement from Hillary Clinton to Trump. And he explains why. Very interesting. He says how it's dangerous because he lives and works in California, to out himself as a Trump supporter. And his argument for conversion, if you want to call it that, is that he talks in length, in what he penned via email digitally, how Donald Trump is kind of like a salesman. He's a leader. Perception is reality. He's able to kind of woo and control the narrative and public perception by positioning things in an extreme way. Like, hey, we're going to build a wall, Mexico's going to pay for it. Or no Muslims into the United States till we figure things out. But then he's able to moderate that message, which is something that, it's like one of the primary things that a president needs to do, right? Control the narrative and deliver the message to the people so that it resonates with the people. And that's what Trump is really good at. I think that's why he shoots high, just like a master marketer or salesman, as an influencer here, and then he pulls you down here, which is why even people like me are kind of pushing back a little bit, because I think he's moderating too much. If you moderate too much, and again, he's not hitting Hillary, where he should be hitting her, as, she's coming after his jugular. The point being, I know a lot of you out there love Donald Trump, love Pepe the Frog. I love Pepe the Frog too. I don't think he's racist, I want Donald Trump to win in all of these things. I support Donald Trump. But we need to understand, as I mentioned, I think quite eloquently and equivocally, not too long ago, now's the time to be most vigilant. Trump already has his base supporters. He's got us. He's going to get the vote. But to win, he needs to pick up the undecided voter. I'm not seeing that from him, and that's why I'm not being pessimistic, but I was a little disappointed about what I saw a couple of nights ago. He has to woo. That's if the whole thing hasn't already been decided already, which, to be honest and frank, is, unless Donald Trump can oversee the entire voting process, which I doubt his campaign will. It's why from the very beginning, a long time ago, when I probably even looked different on camera, what did I tell you? Donald Trump is America's catharsis. The globalist elite are putting him there for a reason, even if it's by accident. They co-opt the accident. That's what they do. That's how they control the narrative. Donald Trump, organic. He's real, anti-establishment. As he's riding the wave of political incorrectness and building more and more power and more fuel, and more people are getting behind him and at his rallies and make America great again, what do the globalist elite do? They do the easiest and best thing that they can do. They co-opt the movement. They give it the appearance, the illusion that Donald Trump has a chance, that he's going to win. The people are fighting. They're enraged against the radical left, the deplorables, over 50% of the country, which is not in agreement with the radical left. Left's actually over here, but your left's over here if you're looking on this on camera. And then at the end of the day, the election comes down to a gnat's ass, which is where it's been. Polls collapse. Trump's got like a slight lead in some of the polls now, like plus or minus 4% from what I'm seeing. But it's really here. They're like neck and neck. They're neck and neck until November on the 8th. And ultimately, and I hope I'm wrong, Hillary Clinton bests Donald Trump. Just by this much. And then it's like, damn, we were so close. We did such a good job. And, oh man, with our votes, God, if we just got a few more voters in there, we would have won. Trump spins off from that, calls the election completely, totally rigged, as he's already prefaced and put into the conscious mind already. He's already aligning himself with big alt media interests like Breitbart, et cetera, InfoWars, et cetera, AMTV, et cetera. He spins off, continues to build a massive media empire, might even arguably have more influence there than he does as president of the United States, to be honest. Comes president of the United States, he's got to moderate himself and be that freaking person reading a teleprompter. He spins off into the media empire. What happens? More fragmentation, more division. The country splits. These events like we've seen in the past, whether or not it's the Oregon standoff at the Malheur facility, or it's Clive and Bundy, and people don't understand what a knife's edge we are to civil war in this country. and a secession movement and the splitting and dividing of the nation and open armed rebellion, you'll start to see these events catalyze. You'll see the spark. And again, what are the globalists elite most afraid of? Somebody else controlling the narrative. That's the most powerful tool. Why do you think I do what I do? Because I really believe the most powerful weapon is the narrative, is the media, alternative media television. That's why we're the alternative. So this is very scary. This is why even prior to the election results, what are the globalists doing? And I joke, Alex Jones got so much shit over the years. The globalists, the globalists, the globalists, the globalists. It's like, dude, shut up, conspiracy theorists. Most people are saying, well, what's the reality is he's 100% right. It is the globalists. They are taking power. We are losing control to them. They are passing he's been, vindicated to a certain extent, even though there's hyperbole to the message. But, don't think Alex Jones isn't smart, too. He understands what resonates with the American public. Hyperbole does resonate with the American public. Gets people to listen. It's exactly why, if you look at the timeline of events, everything that's happening, they're ceding control before the next election even happens. So when Donald Trump loses, man, they shut down Breitbart. They shut down Donald Trump media. They shut down AMTV. They shut down InfoWars. Obama's already transferring the power now, before the transition. God forbid Donald Trump becomes president. Again, I kind of argue, man, he'd probably do more not being president. He'd probably run again. And I think probably win maybe the second time. At that point, though, wow, my God, where's the country headed then? That is, unless you think that the country can keep going like this forever, which is what they try to engineer. Yeah, constant, continuous, infinite, perpetual growth on 0% interest rate and Janet Hoare Yellen's prostitution of the Federal Reserve. Yeah, it's just going to go like this forever. It'll never go down again. Perfect freaking society. Oh, yeah. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. That's what they tell us. Like, I was even reading like CNBC articles, and they're just like saying something like, Trump going after Janet Yellen, I don't know, like that's dangerous or something. Really? Janet Yellen is freaking dangerous. She's a freaking peon anyway. She just represents the globalist interests and the Federal Reserve. They selected her because they're like, we need an androgynous figure, like somebody who looks like a man and a woman, right? And we need gray hair, and she's got to be completely dry, and when you hear her speak, it's got to be so boring that you fall asleep, and you can't even hear what she's saying when she's talking about negative interest rates. And then they prepare a script and she beats around the bush a million times. Like, we will steadily be evaluating the economic conditions over the next few months as the Federal Reserve reviews GDP growth in emerging markets and domestic economies. We've seen marginal improvement of 2.5% growth in certain areas like this part of the economy. Although we are still watching closely the recovering housing market, it does remain an area of contention that we will be looking into further in the not too distant future. And then they finally let people ask questions like, are you taking rates negative? She's like, well, we'll be evaluating the interest rate environment in the next few months. She just keeps beating around the bush. Give us a freaking answer, for crying out loud. And again, actions speak louder than words, folks. This country is in trouble. This country is divided. This country is splitting. This country has already been hijacked. The mass migration has already occurred. The terrorists are already here. So when Donald Trump says, and I understand why he says it, and his campaign positions himself this way, that this is our last line in the sand, this is our last chance. No, it's not. It's already over. We lost when Mitt Romney couldn't get in, to be honest with you. That was the first thing out of my mouth when I was speaking truthfully with my friends and family. I said, my God, they'll never win again. And I don't identify myself as a Republican, but I said, my God, they'll never win again. Welcome to the one-party world government. Welcome to a system of control, of tyranny. Where we all got cameras over our shoulders. I'm going to start mounting this. This is kind of a big one, but, just kind of carrying it around the supermarket. We're already there now. There is no privacy. People are like, Christopher, aren't you scared? You put yourself on camera. No, I'm on camera as much as you are, dipshit. Have you noticed the idiocracy lately? There's a freaking camera everywhere. There's eyes in the sky. And everyone's carrying it around just looking at you like this. You're just as much of a victim as I am. At least I'm raging against the machine here. Maybe I should join a band or something like that. Start playing the bass or the drums. We need your support, guys. We need your freaking help. Alternatively, build a freaking new nation with us. Let's go back to constitutional foundational principles. Let's cut a hot knife through this bullshit that makes up the one-party illusion. Do it with me. Like I said, guys, the sky's the limit. One of our subscribers, one of our newest on-demand subscribers said, Christopher, I've been watching you, man, for nearly 10 years. The sky's the limit. It's amazing what you guys are doing. We won't stop. We'll build. We'll just keep building. Brick by brick. You know, it's like digging a ditch or something, man. Just keep going. I mean, that's kind of my personality, too. It's just people can laugh at me. I'll just keep digging. I'll just keep laying bricks. Just until I die, the bricklayer is here. Help us build this freaking infrastructure. Make this message louder. Help us reach every medium that exists today. Not just the internet, not just social media, radio, TV, in the real seminar, everything. Satellite, everywhere. Let these people run scared. Let them build their multi-million-dollar underground bunkers and safe rooms. I hope they panic. The people are angry. That's one thing that is definite about the situation that we are in. There is an anger vacuum right now. People are pissed. It's great that Donald Trump is able to harness that. And the political movement and Pepe the Frog is able to harness that. Ribbit? That's great. But let's not waste the energy on an illusion. And that's what pisses me off. Because the system is an illusion. Let's build upon the idea that is America. The idea of how and what America was and how we were founded. On blood, to be honest with you. Less than, 10% of the population fighting the redcoats? Fighting against tyranny. Kings, queens, not too different today, are building communities where we have autonomy. Even the 13 colonies, they were well-functioning communities in and of themselves. Even as states begin to form, these states could take care of themselves. No longer. That's part of the idiocracy. Indoctrinate everybody, control everybody. We can just go down the list and all the control mechanisms. I'll save it for another episode. They don't want you to be self-sufficient. They don't want you to be educated. They don't want you to be enlightened. They don't want you to understand the truth. They don't want you to know that this whole thing is an illusion. They do want to sit you down right in front of the television and social media today and brainwash you, which is exactly what they're doing. It's why it makes what we do so important, and others so important. It's a great place to leave today's show. We will get this up as soon as possible. Screw Face Crook for cutting our feed for whatever God knows reason today. Again, just another reason to subscribe for the price of a cup of coffee a month. Totally humbled. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do. You are the alternative media. This is just my soapbox. I'm proud to do it, and I'll continue to do it as long as I can. I'm Christopher Green. You've been watching AMTV, Alternative Media Television, hard-hitting and in your face.